What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It has been a while and I want to tell a quick story and also give an update on the car. If you're new to the channel, this is my GR86 kind of track car, whatever. And we started out stock and then we made improvements to go faster and faster and faster. A lot of the tracks that I run are going to be in Florida, Sebring being my home track, and that's kind of it. I got a part behind me from Perrin and I want to give them a quick shout out and a big thanks, and I'm going to tell you why. In the beginning of my journey with this car, tracking it, this is when we're getting into the story time, so bear with me. I think there's some good information here that I could help save you guys some time. So, had the car stock, would track it with a set of Hawk 5.0 brake pads. Now, they're not even really a track pad by any means, but they're probably as close to stock to these as you can get. Now, I probably should have went with the HP Plus, but again, I'm trying to track the car without having major brake issues. So I went with the Hawks 5.0s, and not for very long. Did that, and they were fine with the car being stock and my ability to, you know, drive fast. So we did that. Went to Sebring a few times to get some baseline runs. Then I decided, okay, well, we're gonna start modifying the car. The most important thing on any race car is the tire. So grip to me was where I wanted to focus, is how to get more grip out of the car. Yeah, I could just put some sticky tires on there and obviously we're gonna go faster, but I felt that would have hindered my, or it was gonna hide my mistakes. So I was like, you know, let's just work on suspension and, you know, increase the limit of the tire or the grip with just doing an alignment, you know, lowering the car to increase grip that way on the stock Michelin tire. So this car being brand new, I had a set of FA 510 coilovers built for the car. You know, so we upgraded, you know, to the springs and camber caster plates, stuff like that. And it took about 10 to 12 weeks to build. Well, when I ordered the coilovers, I also ordered sway bars, bushing, stuff like that for the car, for the suspension, just again, you know, to try to maximize the grip. Because I was waiting for the coilovers, I had another track day. So we put on the white line sway bars, front and rear with the end lengths, sub bushings and diff bushings, just the inserts. Again, it's just for that mechanical feel and the feedback that I can get. Maxed out the sway bars, so I put them on the stiffest settings, both front and rear, which the front was a 3 hole and the rear was a 2. I think the front was like a 20 or 22 mil and the rear was either a 16 or an 18. I kind of, you know, I forget, but somewhere in that range. And I believe it was for the Gen 1 cars and they just bolted right in. So went to the track to Sebring and I knocked out 2 seconds with nothing else. I went 2 seconds faster. Now, was it 100% the sway bars? No, I'm sure with a little bit of seat time and getting comfortable with the car, I was able to go a little bit faster. Sway bars, technically, they're not gonna make you go faster, but what they do, they allow you to have a little bit more grip. So with more grip comes, you know, the limit. I feel, you know, we can push a little bit further on those tires with, you know, keeping the car pretty much neutral and balanced from side to side and front to back. And car felt good. I was like, wow, just a sway bar. And, you know, I didn't think the white lines or anything special. We went faster. And again, it was the ability to push it, you know, maybe I was a little more comfortable at the limit, or maybe again, the limit was just a little bit higher and I can reach, you know, a mile an hour more in each corner. I don't have the data, I can't really tell you. I just know we went faster. So fast forward, got the coilovers, got the tires, and I'm dropping, my lap times are falling down. We tuned it, exhaust, header, E85, did all that stuff. So now I started to get into the time trials at the firm. And based off of the classing, the TT5, I was allowed to run Hoosiers. So I was like, okay, now I'm gonna run the stickiest tire. And I was like, I want more sway bar. Now that I have more grip, I want a better sway bar to keep up with the stickiness of the tire. Because I love the feedback when the sway bar, when they're really stiff, right? The car responds, it does what you want, the feedback is great, and I love it. Doesn't feel, not very lazy and soft and numb. So I was like, all right, we're gonna go with the Carceps front bar, and I'm gonna upgrade to the Perrin 25 millimeter rear sway bar. I'm like, this car's gonna get aero, it's got slicks, we're gonna just, we're upping the grip. I wanna upgrade the sway bar. That's what I'm thinking. We're adding in more negative camber, playing a little bit with the toe, front and rear, and went to the track, and I'm thinking this car is dialed. Maxed out both front and rear sway bars. We took off the white line and went out there just fighting the car, and it was slow. It was understeering everywhere. And in my head, I'm like, okay, something's not right. And I'm kind of, the only thing I can really blame is the Hoosiers. And I'm like, no, but they're flicks. Maybe I got them overinflated or something, would take air out, and didn't really solve a whole lot. And I'm like, man, maybe the Hoosiers are only good for a lap or two and they're just hot. No, it could be possible, but no, it wasn't. And I couldn't figure out why I was fighting the car. It was just understeering. I'm going through corners just doing this, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm not going through there, I guess fast, but I feel like I can push the car so much harder. And now I'm frustrated because I'm like, man, we just spent a bunch of money, we upgraded this, and got new wheels and tires, I'm on Hoosiers, and I'm just going slow. And it's very frustrating. So, fast forward, after talking with a few people, they're like, your car's probably over sprung or it's too stiff. Maybe soften it up, because we're just kind of overwhelming the tires, which we were. But at the time, I just didn't want to hear that because we just spent all this money, and I'm thinking, man, I gotta be going faster. I have to, right? And I love the way the car felt. And they're like, no, you gotta soften it up. And I'm like, I don't want to just soften it up. There's gotta be something else. Started playing a little bit with alignments, pulled some stuff out, took, I think I was 3.8, went to 3.5, so not much there. And the car just wouldn't do, it was always fighting me. It was really always understeering bad. So I went to a different track, Sebring. Again, didn't really improve. So then I started talking to people. I'm like, man, because I always run, you can't see them, but I run the RE71 RS, and that is a fast tire. So I'm thinking, all right, the Hoosiers, I'm being told on average 2 to 3 seconds at Sebring, and I couldn't even get to the time of the RE71s, and I was like, man, am I crazy? How am I on a slick tire and a street tire? I'm faster. They're like, yeah, you're probably crazy because that's unheard of. So again, just talking with more people, I was like, all right, well, really the only thing I did was sway bars and tires. I doubt it's the tires. Let me soften this thing up. And as soon as I did that, lap time started coming down. I wasn't fighting the car. So now I'm full soft in the rear. The softest setting for the sway bar, and I think I'm on hole number 2 from the softest on the front with the Carceps bar. And the car feels neutral, it feels balanced, and that's what I'm going for. But I wanted to share that story with you guys because sometimes we do something and a small adjustment, like a camber, for example, it's really easy to get that. You start throwing some camber to the car, the car's gonna respond, your lap time's gonna come down because you're using more of the tire efficiently. So you can go from like, you know, from stock to -2, car's gonna get better. Then you go to -3, and like, oh my God, it feels great. Let me push to -4, and then you're like, what? The car's not going, you know, we're not going any faster. And it's like, yeah, because there's a range efficiency. And that's how I was with my sway bars. I thought the more I can push, the better it's gonna get. And you know, there's just a limit, and that the Hoosier tires just did not like it, and probably the street tires too. It's just too much for them. And same thing with the alignments. You know, I talked to a few people, and they want more out of it. You know, and I'm like, yeah, you know, there's just a sweet spot. Get to that sweet spot based off of your tire wear and temperature, and just stay there, and then work on other things from there. But just giving more and more negative camber, or a little more toe out in the front and a little more toe in the rear, and you know, you're gonna get to a point and that's it. You're not gonna keep gaining from there. So I kind of learned the hard way, and you know, it's expensive. So I love the way it felt. Now that it's soft, it doesn't respond, the feedback, the communications through, you know, the pedals, the wheel, you know, the seat. It's not there like it was when things were really tight and really stiff. So Perrin was super, super, super nice and sent to me their rear strut tire brace. Now, before we get into that install, it's pretty straightforward. I just want to say a huge thanks to them. And that's where I'm gonna go with this car next. We softened the suspension, but I want to stiffen the chassis again for that communication. Eventually the car will get a cage. We'll do some bracing underneath it, strut tire, you know, up front, the rear, things like that, just so the car can communicate to me. I know this, I've been ranting and raving for a while now, so let's get into the install, and then I would give you guys the latest update with where we're at with version 2.0 of the car, and that is making a lot more power. All right, time to unbox. And just FYI, there's quite a bit of perrin stuff on this car. Rear sway bar, like I said, front wheel spacers, the intake, transmission bushing, what else? The master cylinder brace. Now this piece, oh, the clutch line. So there's a couple different things. All right, so really quick as we start to unbox everything, where are the, oh, here we go. So we have this bracket, and then we have this extension nut. Basically what we're gonna do, you're gonna unscrew the 2 bolts that hold the coilovers to the chassis. Don't jack the car while you do this. We're gonna unbolt those. We're gonna screw this extension nut in its place. And then we're gonna take this stud. We're gonna take the shorter end of this stud, screw it into here. And then this piece will go over it. And then, oh, just like that. And then you would take that factory or your coilover nut and thread it on top of the stud. And then you repeat the same on the other side. All right, so hopefully you can see everything. There was a couple clips to pull off this panel. They just snapped in here, there, and then back here. It's tough to see, but you want to take a 14 millimeter and loosen up these nuts. Then you want to take the nut extender. It's a 3/4 or 19 mil. put that in its place. They want these at 22 foot-pounds, which I'm just gonna go snug. All right, now that both sides are done, we're actually gonna assemble the strut tower brace outside of the car. I don't know if you can tell, but it's hollow, light. It's got that wrinkle black texture. Just like that, again, loose, can slide in and out. And now we will mount inside the car. Hopefully the camera will focus, but again, we're gonna take that stud with the most thread sticking on top. Once those are in, with this still loose, after these are tight, take the supplied Allen wrench and you tighten up the brace. These are like, they say 5 to 8 foot-pounds, but again, I'm just getting things snug. Everything's aluminum, so you don't gotta go crazy tight. One thing that I love is that now I could almost have another hard mount to mount a camera in here while I'm on track. So that's pretty neat. Super simple install. Great product as always. Alright, so now I'm gonna share with you something I've kind of been hinting and talking about, but I haven't released many details on, and that is this. I'll make a full-on video, but we're gonna make some power. But we still got some more stuff coming in, more parts. The intercooler's being shipped out soon, and again, I just wanted to give you guys an update for the car. Because, you know, version 2, we're going to be making some more power. Well, that's going to pretty much do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for following along. I know it's been a while. I haven't really done much to the car. Huge shout out to Perrin for supplying me with that part. Thanks a lot. Great quality part. Super easy to install. It's just so hot in Florida. There's a couple track days coming up. People have been inviting me, and I'm just like, I love the track, but not when it's this hot. I got something coming up here in June where I'm gonna be tracking my buddy Z06, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Other than that, again, waiting for the final pieces to come, which they should be here any day now. We'll install the kit. I'm looking for roughly right around 100 horsepower, and then we'll start pushing from there. Next would be, you know, power, work on the aero, you know, just to make more downforce, you know, stiffen up the chassis, stuff like that. So stay tuned, follow along, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next one.